I absolutely loved last week's episodes. The transfer specials were meaty, and I think we have a team ready for the championship. But it is a real test to start the season. Yes, that is right. Happy Monday. Welcome back, folks. We are kicking off season number 7, I want to say, with Lewes FC, and it's a tough first game. It's Norwich City away. They were relegated from the Premier League last season. Following on from that, we are going to do the game against Stoke City away also. And well, we've done a whole lot of prep ahead of this season. The last couple of transfer specials have been stressful. They've been busy. The good news is Lewes is still here at centre-back. The not so good news is when we look at the season preview, we're still towards the bottom, but we're not in the bottom 3 anymore. Which I actually think, when you consider where we were when we started this transfer window at the start of the summer, is a pretty impressive spot to be in. Now, of course, just as a little reminder, the board and the fans are, of course, absolutely delighted off the back of last year, but the aims for the coming season are simply to attempt to avoid relegation and be competitive in the competitions that we play in. In all honesty, when it comes to the championship, I would like to get a mid-table finish and hopefully see a little bit of development from the numerous young players from every corner of the world we collected in the summer. And well, let's be honest, it was an extremely busy transfer window. 7 players out for £3.6 million. The most notable, of course, Riley Owen heading to Lecce. Some really good money received for a player going into the final year of his contract. And in terms of signings in, we have just signed players, like I already mentioned, from every corner of the world. There is one player I've signed since last episode. He's never going to play for us. It's Ville Häivärinenen. He is another Finnish player. He doesn't have a work permit. There's one reason I've signed him, and it's because Lauri Holm, the centre-back that we picked up, who is going to be playing in the first team, I promised him I was going to sign him a friend from Finland. So I went out and found an amateur Finnish player that we could bring in to fulfill that promise. And to be honest, I could probably just release the bloke now. Yeah, sorry, Ville. How much is it going to cost to release him? £9,500. I'm just going to do that. He can leave after the Norwich game. Is it stupid that that's how the promise system works? When you tell a player you're going to sign a friend, you just sign someone of the same nationality and then release them? Maybe. Hate the game, not me. Now, I have, of course, been tinkering with the tactical system, but before we go through the system that we're playing for this year, which has changed, which you'll know if you watched last episode, we really should do a rundown of the first team because so many players were brought in. I feel like this is as much for my own benefit as yours because, yeah, we went mad in the transfer window. Of course, Owen Barrett was our starting goalie last season. We have signed, however, Charlie Hardy from Manchester United to play in goal. Also, you might notice, we've got the attribute polygon next to the attributes. Yes, that's right. Someone released a mod over the weekend that gives me my dream Football Manager player profile. Yeah, my dreams are really this boring. But yeah, it does mean that I no longer have to flick between the polygon and the attributes. And in fact, we can very easily look at a player's pros and cons now from their profile, which I think is quite nice. But yeah, we picked up Charlie Hardy, not for the smallest fee in the world. To be fair, he was playing in League One last year and he didn't exactly shine. He is going to offer a bit of competition with Barrett. If he doesn't shine and is not stand out, Barrett will probably just come back in. It's not as if the goalie did anything wrong last year. He's just kind of a victim of the fact there was a cheap, affordable upgrade out there. And of course, we did pick up a third choice goalie this year as well. Rodrigue Nana, Cameroonian. I'm going to make this guy available for the under-21s. I want him getting as many minutes as possible for his development. He is a player who, according to my staff, has Premier League potential. We'll actually see if that's true or not, I suppose, in the coming years. We are, of course, pivoting to a 3 at the back system with 3 centre-backs this year, which is a good thing because I have a lot of centre-backs at my disposal. Not necessarily entirely through choice, but just because there were no centre-mids in the world, so I went and signed the position where we had lots of players. Lewes and Donnelly were our back kind of 2 centre-backs in the back 4 last year. They are still going to be regularly starting for us. Of course, Evan Donnelly has that match highest earner clause. Lewes has that release clause, which is really, really low to teams in the Premier League, and I'm still scared of. As of now, though, there is no interest from Premier League clubs out there, so fingers crossed that continues. But because I was aware of the fact that either of those players could leave, we did look to bring in a load of centre-backs this year. The one who will be starting in the back 3 alongside them is Abdel Haddad. He is an absolutely incredible player, the Moroccan. Not the craziest from a technical point of view, but for a centre-back, I only care about the core 3, the heading, the marking and the tackling, and he can do all of those reasonably well. His mentals and his physicals, I think, are where he stands out a little bit more. At 21 years old, I'm hoping he's going to feel at home in this back 3. If he doesn't work out, though, we did sign 3 other centre-backs this summer. Lauri Holm, we've already talked about. The Finnish centre-back has 19 jumping reach and is an absolute man-mountain of a man. Hopefully he's going to improve a little bit. And I suppose that actually applies to all the players that we brought in, because Conor O'Loughlin is also 20 years old. This guy tipped to have some really, really good potential. Potentially a Premier League defender in the the future, and I suppose you can see why when you look at his technicals. He is the kind of player who can only defend and jump, and there's not a lot else to his game, so yeah, if we look to play the ball out from the back, maybe he's not the perfect fit. But I think he is a player capable of playing at this championship level. Ivicic was the other man that we brought in. I'm actually going to train him to play at defensive midfielder this year. Centre mid is an area where we are lacking. He is a little bit more competent with the ball at his feet, and at 20 years old, I do think he will get minutes this year. Two players who are going to have their minutes limited though. Club captain Tayo is probably in for a hard time this year. He can play at centre-back. I'm sure he will get some matches this year at centre-back, but he is a far kind of drop-off from the other players we've just looked at. And in some other news, Egan Riley, who is currently still in the first team, is currently potentially on his way to Pisa. In the week between last episode and this episode, did just look to offload a couple of players. Here's one such example. £165,000 for him in his final year. I don't think is the worst deal in the world. Of course, this year we are making the switches to wing-backs. Denner, who was one of our standout players last year, is going to continue to play at left-back. We are training him to play at left wing-back. I think this guy is absolutely phenomenal. There wasn't even a temptation, even with his value, to look to sell him on. We've got him contracted for 4 more years on £3,000, but we did need someone for the right-hand side. And the man that we've landed on is Jesus Maria Garcia. That is just a fun name to say, isn't it? Maria Garcia. This man cannot really play right wing-back yet, nor is he the best from a defensive point of view, but he's got mad physicals, really, really good mentals. I love the fact he's got great work rate, good stamina, kind of good acceleration and pace. He's going to get up and down the wing, and I do also feel like when you play with 3 centre-backs, the wing-backs don't have to be absolutely insane defensively. You can get away with kind of athletes, a bit like Maria Garcia here. The big thing to note with him is consistent performer and is tipped to have Premier League potential whilst being currently a championship level player. He's 18, we signed him for £250,000. I'm quite excited to see what he could do. Depth in the wing-back areas is a little bit interesting. Our backup left wing-back is going to be Sassy, another player that we picked up this year, another player who has these great physicals and mentals, but his defensive technicals aren't the best. Yeah, his tackling and marking leave a little bit to be desired, but at 20 years old, again, has bags of potential. I am going to look to give him some games this year. We're allowed a 9-player bench in the championship, and for players like the 20-year-old, I want to make sure they are getting some game time. Ahmet is going to be our backup right wing back. I think an issue that we are going to have this year is just depth in certain positions, and I do feel like our depth in the wing back area isn't quite as good as I would like. There are a couple of real kind of makeshift players we could bring in to play in the wing back areas. Technically, Theo Julien, who was our right back in League 2, could play in that area. The player who I'd probably be more likely to start as our third choice right wing back is a man playing at centre mid for us in Jonah O'Connor. The centre mid area has been a nightmare this year. This man is starting. I didn't think he was going to be starting when I initially signed him. His partner in crime in the defensive mid/centre mid area is going to be Zayn Alvarez, a man that we signed back in the National League, and a man who, to be honest, is probably currently our best centre mid at the club. I don't know if that is a really nice fairy tale thing, the fact he's been around so long and is still a starter, or if that really should be more of a cause for concern. He didn't really look out of his depth in League 1. I'm intrigued to see how he gets on this year. He is one of those players who I didn't necessarily expect to be a starter when we kind of kicked off the summer, and he is currently unhappy at the club, but at least for now, he's the man we're looking at to play alongside Jonah. Annoyingly, our third choice centre mid in Andy Cooper got injured in the week before the season is beginning. He is out for 3 to 6 weeks, which means an area that I'm already a bit concerned about has a bit more of a worry over it. I mean, next in line at centre mid is probably Dakarai Mafiko, who I do think is a good little centre mid, but I suppose the fact he's on £2,000 a week kind of implies the level that he is at. He is a very, very low-end championship player. It's annoying because I've got some other players that could technically play centre mid. Haddad, our centre-back, technically is naturally a centre mid. We're training him to play at centre back, and elsewhere, Aguiar is another man who can play at centre mid technically, but he's our starting striker. I feel like neither of these players are complete enough to actually play at centre mid, which is the reason why, as I mentioned, Ivicic were training to play at centre mid, and it's also the reason I promoted Theo, who I demoted down to the under-21s because I thought we were going to be getting rid of him. I brought him back into the first team because he might actually be needed after all, at least until we sign a centre mid. I am working on that. I think attacking mid might be where things get interesting this year. Aguiar was the League One signing of the season last year. We signed him kind of with in mind the fact that I thought he could make the step up to the Championship, maybe making it a season sooner than I expected, the 21-year-old. But I do really believe in him. I feel like his elite physicals are going to be a difference maker at this level. Another man that we signed last year is Kosa Hassi. He was not amazing, I don't feel like, last year. He failed to get double figures for goals or assists, but as we've seen in this save game with various players, sometimes it's players that you don't expect that kind of take a season or two to get up to speed. On paper, his physicals look like he should be an absolute menace. Admittedly, his defending ability, his mentals, his aerial ability leaves a lot to be desired. He is a very one-dimensional player. And that is something we could also maybe apply to the new addition who's going to play out on the right-hand side for us in BJS. Yes, we have an Ivorian left mid, an Ivorian right mid. Neither of them can really defend. So actually this year we're going to leave them both up as kind of lazy inside wingers when we don't have the ball. I do love BJS though here. He has great pace, great stamina, great acceleration as well. And I think the big thing for him is 15 technique, 15 first touch, 15 finishing. I'm going to hope this man can be a goal scorer. He's one of the top earners at the club. On the bench, we have two backups from Asia. One for the right wing, one for the left wing. Two is the Thai international. He can play at striker, but we're training him to play out on the left-hand side. He is maybe a little bit of a step below what you'd want for a player at this level, but he is 18 with some potential. And the other man we've got is Son Jin Hyun. The 21-year-old is naturally a centre attacking mid. And he could also play at striker if he absolutely needed to in an emergency. If there is a concern I have with our wide attacking players, none of them can actually play the midfield position. They can all play the attacking mid area, but not deeper. So in terms of in and out possession roles, does limit us a little bit. The other backup we do have in the final third is Alberto Rodriguez. He is a player who's been here a long old time. When we first signed him, I thought he'd be good enough for the Championship. Obviously, he broke his ankle last season, had a stinker of a season by his extremely high standards, and it's as a result of that I can't even find a spot for him on the bench. One thing you'll note about all these attacking options is, though, a lot of them can play in the wide attacking mids or at striker. That versatility is going to be useful because if Aguiar gets injured, there's a load of players we could bring in. I think perhaps the first in line would be Josh Landers, a man that we signed back in League 2 on a free transfer. There is a little bit of interest in him at the moment, and with his valuation, there is that devil on the shoulder telling me maybe cash in on him, but his goal scoring last year in League 1 wasn't completely dreadful, and I do feel like he offers us something that our other attacking players don't offer in terms of the backups, in terms of he's actually competent in the air. I think there's going to be a lot of fluidity in the final third. I think Aguiar, Kosahase and BJS as the starting three makes sense, but that is not to say that will be the starting three throughout this season. I think form might largely determine who I pick in this part of the pitch. Our first team does currently sit at 27 players, which I think is the largest it's been in many, many years. But of course, there are a lot of younger players in there. Egan Riley might be on his way out. There are a couple of these younger players as well that don't quite make the bench. I'm probably going to make available for the under-21s. Now, I have discussed the fact we are changing things up tactically. Last year, we played, a 4-3-3. I can load it in really quick to show you what it was. But yeah, last year we played a fairly vanilla 4-3-3, but due to the fact that we did lose our starting defensive mid and the fact we couldn't really find a good replacement, we are going to a 3 centre-back system. And then the 2 centre-mids in Albrus and O'Connor are, of course, going to drop into those deeper areas of the pitch where they can play as pressing midfielders. I already kind of talked about the fact that Kosahase and BJS in the wider areas have this issue where they can't play deeper for us. They just don't know the positions, but also, just defensively, they're a bit of a liability. So I'm taking a gamble. It might not work. My plan of attack is when we don't have the ball to basically play with 2 lazy inside outlet wingers. They are going to stay up the pitch. We're going to attempt to defend with just 7 players and then look to hit teams on the counter. If I do find that we're getting a little bit overrun with the 2-man midfield and kind of the fullbacks having issues being exposed, we will revisit those wide attacking mid roles. But I think in terms of making the most of the players that we have, this is perhaps the best approach. In possession, we are playing with the wide centre-back, so they're going to offer a little bit of coverage out wide. Of course, if the ball is out on the right-hand side, Haddad is going to step up and play alongside Garcia. Similarly, on the left-hand side, Suljic can make that move. That is a move that I think is necessary because I feel like if we don't have one of our centre-mids making some kind of movement when we're in possession, the centre-mids are just going to get absolutely isolated. Speaking of which, O'Connor is going to be a bit of an orchestra in the midfielder position, I think. He is playing as a midfield playmaker, at least to start the year, looking ready to make the most of his passing and, well, his just general teamwork ability, but he might not be in the first team for long. And I say that because I've got a big deal pending. I was looking for a centre mid all summer. I had a little look at one before the window kind of closed and before the season wrapped up, and I've landed on Emerson Cardozo here. He has an international cap for Bolivia. He's a very, very good player from a creative point of view, and he's only 19 years old. The reason I really like this guy, Premier League potential, under the age of 21, and I feel like he could offer a lot. The only downside with Cardozo is he can't play defensive mid. When you compare him against O'Connor, though, you can see he's far better from a technical and physical point of view, at least on the whole. If he does join the team, we might have to play some kind of asymmetric centre mid setup. But you know what? To start the year, this is what we're playing against Norwich. I'm feeling good about this year. We've got an away day to kick things off. We're heading to Norwich. We're heading to Carrow Road. Let's go see what it's all about, shall we? So for today's away day, we are heading north. We are heading around the M25 and we are heading up to Norwich, which, let's be honest, is in a bit of a footballing black hole of England, isn't it? No disrespect to the people of Norfolk or Norwich, but let's be real, there is one football club in your entire county and you've all got 6 toes. I'm allowed to say that, right? Because half my family are from Norwich. Let me just check. Yeah, half my family are from Norwich. Also, if you're looking for a day out, Norwich Castle is absolutely lovely. It's not why we're here today. We are heading to Carrow Road, which has a load of parking on the retail park next door and a load of parking here next to the stadium. Norwich, great parking, great away day. Well, I will say, highly questionable having a hotel in the corner of the stadium. You know, in Football Manager last year, there was all those stadiums that have the prison in the corner. I think it was based off Carrow Road. Anyway, there's some footage inside before all of that, though. Let's take a gander at the outside. Here is the outside parking of the stadium, and here is Carrow Road, which, I mean, they've got their branding on point, haven't they? Carrow Road, where legends are made. How many of these players can you name? Wesley Hoolahan, Darren Huckabee, Pookie, Gunn. I don't know the other two. Is that Grant Hole? I think it is. The only one I don't know is the one in the bottom left. I love this, right? You can see that they were working on something on this wall, right? But then if we go over here, the Street View van came back the next day and Josh Sargent's face was put up. All the Americans are about to give this a really good away day score in the comments. I mean, the car parking's nice. They've made the most of the space. The architecture of these new builds around is giving off a bit of a Mediterranean vibe. What I'm confused about is these flats look really nice. The hotel just looks grim from the outside. Why couldn't the hotel be made to look as nice as these flats? Also, respect to the architect, making the building yellow to fit in. Anyway, this is an away day where we can go around the edge and have a look at what's going on. We've got the Yellow's Bar and Grill. So if you want food, they've got you covered. We've got the official store, which, I mean, they've not called it a superstore or mega store. Points. It's mental, right, that the stand that has the directors and stuff in is the most grim here. I feel like for years Norwich have been talking about expanding this stand. It doesn't look great from the outside, does it? Right, you know what? I've done a 360 around the ground. Let's head in the ground. There's only 2 dots to look at. Let's hope they're good. Here is the first, where I guess there was a concert of some kind going on. Because this does not look fit to play football. There's too many people on the pitch. Right, there's 1 dot in the middle. Please don't let me down, Norwich. Why is the dot in the middle taking me here? Am I being trolled? It was such a strong away day, but this dot literally just takes you outside the ground, and now I'm sad. There's not even Street View in the hotel. They've really missed a trick there. I've seen something that really is bothering me. This must be the Josh Sargent influence. Why is this here labelled soccer field instead of football pitch? Who has labelled this soccer field? Which one of you was it? Own up. You know what? We'll go to Google Earth and have a gander. Here is the stadium in all its glory. It's just quite nice, isn't it? The hotel is a bit of an eyesore in the middle, I'm gonna be honest. But it just feels like a proper kind of English football ground that's been built up over time. They've got a little bit of sea art going on. It probably could be a little bit better. But you've got parking, you've got a shopping centre, you've got a river if you want to turn up in a canoe boat to an away day. Maybe you do. And credit to the groundsman. Why have they gone for a checked pattern in the middle and lines on the outside? They've been fancy there. You've got to give them points for it. Carrow Road, decent away day. Wish there was more footage in the stadium. I'm going to give it a very respectable 7 out of 10. I feel like there was a lot to look at. I like the Josh Sargent artwork. If this was labelled a football pitch, it might have got 7.5, but the people of Norwich are wrong uns. Okay, I am really excited to start this season. We're going to see how this tactic works out. I have no doubt we are going to be tweaking it over the course of this year. In terms of the instructions, I've not changed anything since last season. We are still going to play it out from the back to our centre-backs. There might be some stuff we need to change with time. I'm almost tempted to go a little bit more direct, just because we are going to be looking to catch teams on the counter. But in terms of personnel, this is close to as good as I can field right now. Admittedly, the opposition we're playing, probably one of the best oppositions we're going to play all year. They were in the Premier League last season. It's not going to be easy. Apparently, I can add another sub to the bench. Oh yeah, I don't have a sub number 6. Thank you, game, for letting me know. Oh, I never did the squad numbers because I thought I would do them properly, but now I have to do them. Give me a moment. Now, the issue here is when it comes to a back three, the correct numbers, I feel like people are going to have different opinions. I want it known I'm doing this very, very seriously. And if you're thinking to yourself, is he about to do the entire team? You bet your bottom dollar I am. Right, there's no pressure on us today. There really isn't. I feel like my expectations for this season are tempered. I know in the last couple of seasons I've kind of said, especially in League One, this is a season about consolidation. We'll see how we do. Expect mid-table. I feel like this is the first year where I really just don't see a way we're going to be finishing near the playoffs. If we could avoid relegation, or at least avoid a relegation scrap, that would be a win. Okay, first game in the Championship, arguably one of the hardest games we're going to have all year. Good luck, lads. Last year's season was built on a defensive foundation. Arguably, the formation this season is even more defensive, and I do feel like that foundation is going to be even more important this year. They've got Malacia out on the left-hand side. That feels like a mad signing. Fiskgarden as well, very, very capable striker, at least in Football Manager. We're going to play the ball out here. Alvarez dinks it wide. Loads of the new boys on the ball. Garcia, the 18-year-old right-back, inside to Alvarez. Kosahase, O'Connor, Denner. It's sexy. It's beautiful. And BJS has shot it wide. Also, if you're wondering why I'm calling him BJS, look, Bayeri Jr. Salalu is just a mouthful. I really should just nickname him BJS. Thing is, it's the kind of nickname where once it's written down, the video might get demonetized. So maybe we can't do that. Either way, you know what? We've survived 15 minutes in Norfolk, which is not too shabby. Hopefully we're going to keep it going here as well. They look to play out from the back. We win it here. And now it's BJS, a little bit isolated, holding up nicely, gives it to Aguiar. The number 9 is in behind, dinks it into the bottom corner, and we are ahead. BJS's pass here is absolutely stupendous. A little dink in behind. Aguiar held his nerve, used a bit of strength to hold off the defender. And I'll tell you what, I want fish with my chips with that finish. Do you get it? Because he chipped it into fish and chips. I feel like I have to explain that joke because it's not immediately obvious because it's awful. Okay, they've got a free kick. This is a little bit concerning. It's whipped in. We head it half away. It's not entirely away from danger. Fiskgarden in the 18-yard box. Denner, great little tackle. Get off the floor. Stop diving. Anyway, Denner's bringing it forward. The left wing-back's got a load of space here. Kosahase on the left-hand side, tucking inside. What is their defence doing? What is that defensive line? No wonder they were relegated from the Premier League. What are they doing? Actually, what are Norwich's defence doing that? I can't really explain the defender behaviour there. That looks silly. Right, I'm praising the players here. We're a goal up. Look at the stats. Look at them. Yeah, we're not having a load of possession, but we're on top. And now BJS, our right winger, is going to look to maybe get another assist. He whips it towards Haddad. It's cleared away. It's worth noting we have got some really big players in our ranks. I feel like set pieces are something that could be a difference maker for us. Garcia at right back, probably not going to be a difference maker for us with efforts like that. They have now got a set piece of their own. Surely this is too far out for Sousa to have a shot. The number 16 lines up. There's 2 players are marked on that side. What is that? Matty Duckett scores. Is the linesman going to raise his flag? He's not. This is definitely one of those Football Manager goals where you kind of pause at it and look at it and go, is there a way with my free kick instructions that I could have got a man to stand here on these 2 players? Why have we left them both unmarked? It felt so predictable. I mean, yeah, what do you say? What do you say? I feel like Hardy in goal there is not to blame. We were playing so well, we got the lead, and to throw it away with a goal conceded like that is just frustrating, isn't it? Anyway, there's 3 minutes left of the half. I've not acknowledged it. It's raining again today. We really should keep track of the number of games it rains in Football Manager. It's far too high. I know they lowered it in the most recent patch, which was before Christmas at this point. They need to lower it some more. Anyway, Kosahase gives it inside to BJS. O'Connor dinks it. Garcia, the right back. I said his finishing was awful. I would like to apologise. He's actually turned into a difference maker. Jesus Maria Garcia. Great little pass, by the way, by O'Connor. I'm not sure what their left back is doing. The right back chesting that down there. That was sensational. You might have noticed as well, we are playing with advanced wing backs in those wing back roles. We're rolling it back to when we're in the National League North and South and we ran this role. We did get a lot of goals from wing backs back then. Maybe that is going to repeat itself here, as Norwich are going to look to repeat their previous free kick heroic. Sosa surely going to go for goal here. The number 16, he shoots. Wasn't that close? Half time in this game, 2-1. If I want to find a positive, we really don't look outclassed here. Gonna tell the players I'm pleased and keep it up. Hardy in goal on a 6.5 is maybe the only little cause for concern. Of course, Owen Barrett dropped from the first team. I'm sure he's looking on this game thinking, why have I not been picked? I could have saved that shot that was scored. Don't think he could have done. But yeah, keep an eye on the goalkeeping position because that is definitely an area of the pitch I will change things if I need to. Norwich have got another free kick here. It feels like everything they score or create comes from a free kick. On this occasion, we've kind of half dealt with it. Denner, by the way, on a yellow card. Water is still wet. Denner is still getting yellow cards. We need to transition to our defensive shape here. Malacia bringing it forward. So many players in the box for us. It's fizzed in low. And Sandermas scores. I have no idea how the pass got that far into the area. You can kind of see our game plan here. 3 players stay up at all times, look for the counters, flood the box with players. We had a 4-on-3, and none of them have prevented that going in. I am going to make some changes here. Denner on a booking is just concerning. I am going to bring in Sassy for his debut. The Tunisian left-back, I think, could be great. Elsewhere in the team, Alvarez is not having the best of games. Neither is BJS on the right. I'm going to bring in Son Jin-hun out on the right-hand side, of course. He can't play right mid yet. He's got to learn to play it on the job. And at defensive mid, I think we need to bring in some fresh legs. So we're going to bring in Mafiko. This year, of course, as I already mentioned, we get 9 subs on the bench. We can still only make 5 changes, so I can't go too crazy just yet. But I mean, what I will say is, regardless of what happens in the next 30 minutes, this kind of performance here, first game of the season, gives me a lot of faith that we are going to be more competitive than I anticipated. Norwich's system and shape, by the way, just seems shambolic. They're playing like a back 3 with a front 3, and it's not working out for them. For us, it's working out. Takarai Mafiko scores, Sassy assists. Tactical genius is what I'm going to suggest. You could say it was a Magnifico decision to bring in Sassy at left back and Mafiko in at centre mid. That's an awful pun. It doesn't even really work because Magnifico's not his name. Good little finish though. Right, encourage the players. We've got a goal ahead. Keep it going. Mafiko now over a corner. Imagine if he goes from scorer to provider. He whips it in. Donnelly is under it. Cleared away. Gasaia already has one. Pull the trigger, son. Have a go, son. Tell you what, he did have a go. He probably shouldn't have. 20 minutes remain. We've got an XG of over 2 here. We've looked really, really good. If there was a concern we might not create enough for the change in system, I think that has to go out the window. I'm going to shout some encouragement at the players here. I think I'm going to make my final 2 changes. Kosa Hasse's not been the best out on the left-hand side. We're going to bring in Hatu, the Thai international making his debut. And Suljic, you know what? He is one of our best players. He has not had the best of performances today. I am going to bring in Home. I feel like with the set-piece threats that they potentially offer Norwich late on here, bringing in Lowry here with his 19 jumping reach is probably a good idea. 10 minutes left. Hold on, lads. Do something magical. Norwich, I mentioned their system. This is the tactic they're playing. They're playing kind of a 3-4-1-2. When they don't have the ball, it's an even more questionable shape, to be honest. They have been awful in this game, Norwich. They have not created a lot outside of set pieces. We've shut them down with kind of our back 5. There's 4 minutes remaining here. I guess it's a bit frustrating we've conceded a couple, but look beyond that. Look at the scoreline. We've scored 3. And is that the game? It is the game. They sent their goalie forward. Did you see that on the 2D? We've won. Didn't have a lot of possession, but that's fine. What a win. Eat it, doubters. Eat it. Right, I am already acutely aware that today's episode has been on the longer side. I still want to do our second game against Stoke. I'm sorry to the Stoke faithful. I'm not doing the away day. Your stadium's named after Bet365, so that's enough of a reason to dodge it. That and the fact that today's episode's already been on the longer side, I'm going to go away and take on Luton in the EFL Cup. We're going to come back and see, can we do it on a cold, wet Saturday afternoon in Stoke? It's not quite as good as a midweek game, is it? Okay, so a week since you were last here, little bits happened. We beat Luton really convincingly in the Cup, 5-2. I fully rotated the team here, and Son Jin-hyun out on the right-hand side had a really, really good game, as did BJS. 2 goals on off the bench for him. Picked up man of the match, so that is promising. Of course, he did also get an assist against Norwich. And in some transfer news, 3 players leaving us. All these players were offered out via intermediaries, and we got some interest in them. The first is Dezel, who's gone to Fuenlabrada. Yeah, we ended up selling him for £51,000 to a Spanish non-league team. I don't think that's too shabby. He was just going to be in our under-21s otherwise. Another player that we've sold is Prince Will. Yes, he has left the building to go to Italy. £54,000 for him, I think, is a solid little return. I wasn't really anticipating a great deal. I felt like we missed the boat to sell him whilst his value was high. And we talked about this one before, but Roman has left the building to head to Pisa. Again, sold for some decent money. You know, we've got, what, £250,000 for these players who were largely just going to be stuck in the under-21s. In terms of transfers in, one player to mention, Emerson Cardozo is here. He is real. The 19-year-old has bags of potential. I'm going to hope that my scouts are right with this Premier League potential. I think he looks really, really good. Great flair, great off the ball, great technique. Physical's lacking a little bit. I am going to train him to play as a defensive midfielder, simply because I feel like that is useful to have. And he is going to play as our midfield playmaker. In possession, really well suited to this role. Out of possession, I am wondering if I should just play asymmetric with him, just for the sake of kind of positional kind of familiarity. I probably wouldn't play him as a pressing centre mid in this area, just because the reason I like the pressing centre mid out possession on Alvarez, for example, is because he can step up. The issue with playing as centre mid is you can't play a one-man defender as a pressing midfielder, which I'm not entirely sure why. So the way I'd have to deal with this is to play a screening defensive midfielder who's going to cover up behind Cardozo. I'm going to try this for a game. We'll see how it goes. If I don't like how the midfield's performing, I will just play Cardozo out of position until he picks up centre defensive mid. Anyway, the rest of the team is unchanged. Cardozo making his debut. We are having a trip here to Stoke. What a debut to make. Cardozo landing off the plane for Bolivia and playing against Stoke. Welcome to English football, my friend. Feels a bit harsh, doesn't it, really, to have 2 away days in a row to start the season, but let's see how we fare against Stoke. I feel like on paper, Norwich was a more difficult game. I must admit, in terms of what I've tested in Football Manager this year, we're in a bit of a realm of unknown with this kind of asymmetric centre mid setup, but we will see how we fare. We can always make changes. Well, 30 minutes into this game, we've not had a shot on target. They had a couple of shots really early doors, and nothing since then. Right, Denner, throw in on the far side. I feel like when we have these few chances, we have to take them. Kosahase cutting inside onto his right foot. Ball flashes just wide of the far post. Well, the end of the first half is here. That Kosahase chance, the only shot of ours we've seen. It's not been a classic, but to be honest, this is kind of what I was expecting from this season. I know that we don't have the best quality going forward, but I do feel like defensively is where we shine. And if we can just frustrate teams on the road, build up a solid little home form, that would be great. Off the back of last year into this season, we're currently 20 games unbeaten away from home. That record will end sooner rather than later this season. We're not going to stay unbeaten away forever. But last season, it was something that was a big part of our game in League One. Anyway, this ball is launched forward. Snow coming down on it. Donnelly wins the header. It goes to Cardozo, making his debut. Nice little ball to Kosahase, who does lose out on the ball. Oh my word, Denner, what are you doing? Denner, what are you doing, you dingus? It's got to be a red. It is a red. He is sent off. I mean, he's a nutter. What I was going to say, he's a nutter. The question is now, how do I change this system to work down a man? Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in Sassy and I'm going to play him at fullback. In possession, we'll play him at advanced wingback. And then I guess what probably makes the most sense is just to go to a front 2 and play BJS as a striker, which is the position he's natural in. We'll play him as a channel forward to make the most of his pace. Out of possession, you know what? I'm going to keep him as an outlet winger. I'm not going to change anything here, although I think I'm going to invert the midfielders just because Cardozo's role, I think, makes a little bit more sense this way around. One thing that we might try at some point this year is a 2-striker system, just because we have got an abundance of striking talent. To be fair, BJS and Aguiar here haven't had the best of games. Is this a good chance to make some changes? Son Jin-hyun did really, really impress me last time out when we took on Luton, so I'm going to bring him in for BJS. I will play him out position, out on the right-hand side, because he needs to learn to play there, but he can play at striker. Garcia at right-back on a booking also concerns me. I can't afford to go down another man, so I'm going to bring in O'Connor out on that right-hand side too. Donnelly over a free kick, dangerous area to the edge of the box. Surely not another one of these tricksy set-piece plays. I was getting PTSD to the last game. I suppose at this point my mindset should be all about survival. Down a man away against Stoke. The pressure is ramping up. They've got a set-piece here. Hodge is over it, going to float it forward. Haddad, with his 18 jumping reach, wins it. Son Jin-hyun, fresh off the bench, fresh off the plane from South Korea, on his lonesome, skips past his man. Imagine if he finishes it! Oh my word, we might have found a hero. What about that for a goal? The defence showed him no respect. The man, little jink inside. I'm not sure, to be honest, what the centre-back was doing there. Completely bamboozled by the run. And a finish which the keeper could not deny. There is immediately a kick-off highlight that, of course, has me concerned when we're down a man. But we've got something to defend now. Stoke are going to be invited forward. This maybe opens up more opportunities to catch them on the break. Mascara to Hodge. I can't believe the finish there by Son Jin-hyun. It was so good. Now we need to stay switched on. Sassy to Cardozo. The Bolivian beast plays it to the goal scorer. He plays it wide to O'Connor, who has great passing and great vision. He's going to be playing a bit of a Trent role for us here. One man in the middle to aim for. Can he make something happen? He pulls it to the edge. Son Jin-hyun, wide area, flashes in. It hits the crossbar off the defender. Aguiar, Cardozo shoots. Wow, we nearly got another. I mean, we've only had 2 shots on target. It's a moment of brilliance that puts us ahead, but in a bizarre way, we look like we're playing better down a man. Right, shout praise to the players. Give me the green, happy, smiley faces. Stoke have got a set piece in their own half here, of course. Aguiar is just the lone forward for us now. He's going to be a little bit isolated. He has got, I suppose, Son Jin-hyun, when we don't have the ball out on the right-hand side, as that inside outlet winger, but in reality, he is going to have a lot of holding up of the play to do, you imagine, as Alvarez brings it forward here, shoots, it's blocked, falls to Hardy. I kind of hope in a weird way that was the highlight and Football Manager just made a questionable decision. But I think there might be more to this play yet. Hardy rolls out to Haddad. The highlight ends. That is beautiful. There's 10 minutes left. I think at this point in possession, the fullbacks do not need to get forward. Team instructions. Let's make sure we're not looking for overlaps and stuff. No more passing it into space. Let's lower the tempo just a little bit, although we will stay direct. And out of possession, we don't need to counter-press quite as much. I just want us to conserve legs, see out this game. I think at this point, I'm going to bring in Mafiko at centre mid for Cardozo. I kind of feel like he's run his race on his debut. I do still have 1 sub left. Aguiar looks exhausted in the final third. We'll bring in Landers to hold the line. 6 minutes left plus any added time. This would be an absolute robbery if we hold on here on the road for the win. There's a set piece. Hodge dinks it forward. I do not like this. Look how many players are back. This is football. This is peak. You might not like it. This is peak championship football. That shot hit the crossbar. Everyone's back on our line. We're not throwing men forward. There's 5 minutes to hold on for what would be a heroic result on the road. Denner had a moment of magic, or madness. Sorry, definitely madness. Son Jin-hyun had a moment of magic. We win this game, and oh my word, we have 1 man to thank for that. Denner banned for 1 match. He was actually banned for the EFL Cup game last time out against Luton, so we're used to not having him. Haddad picked up man of the match, which I do find a little bit surprising. He's still learning, actually, to play centre-back, which is probably why he's declined a little bit. But 7.55 rating in 2 games doesn't look out of his depth. I mean, I don't want to get carried away, ladies and gentlemen. We're 3rd in the championship. Admittedly, we've won twice by a 1-goal margin, but maybe relegation isn't a worry after all. Not the most convincing of results, if I'm being honest, but something to build on. We've got 2 weeks left of the transfer window. When I come back next time, don't be surprised if I've looked to spend a little bit more money, because we do have some more to spend, but at the very least, I'm pleased to report that it appears the players that we've signed this year, some of them especially, are capable of making the step up that I need them to. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the tactical shift, the new system. Hate it, love it. If you've got any thoughts on the Cardozo situation, let me know. I do like the 2 pressing midfielders, I think, more than what we're playing, but I don't know if I want to play this guy out position entirely just yet. Anyway, we are going to be back tomorrow with more Park to Prem action. I hope to see you for it. Appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you next time for more. I'm out.